In this video, we will look at creating stacked walls as a custom wall type. To start with, we've finished tracing the perimeter walls of the house on the main floor. We're going to trace the garage walls now just with a standard wall. We'll use the same stucco on wood stud wall that we started with here. That's what I have left on the house. And I'm just going to start from anywhere. As you drag it out, remember to look at your wall type to see which way is the exterior, and you can see the bottom half of this wall has an extra piece on it. That's the stucco. So if I hit the space button, it flips the wall over so I have the exterior finish on the correct side. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I had a line drawn in here. You can see it's snapping right to it at 22 feet. So I know that one's right, but I'm not going to concern myself with the depth right now. I'm just going to click in, doing a rough trace, and then we're going to look at editing the exact position of that wall later. Now, by choosing the correct direction for the exterior to go, for example, on this horizontal wall, the exterior is on the top half. That's where the stucco is. Once we have that, it automatically follows through for the rest. So those are all set. Now, to edit walls, unlike AutoCAD where we typically draw things exactly where they need to be, here we place the number and position of the walls in a preliminary state, and then we can finalize them with dimensions. So for example, I am going to dimension the length and depth of this garage. So since I already have a dimension started on my floor plan, I can always go in and start new dimensions up here, align dimension, but since there's one existing, if I click on it, there's an area here where I can edit the witness lines. In other words, I can change my dimensions. So if I click on that, it's got a new extension now. So it's just a continuing dimension command, really. So if I zoom into here, I don't want to click on the detail line. I want to click on the Revit model. So I want it to attach itself to the wall for editing reasons. So again, I'm not doing the detail line. I want to come down here into the model, and it wants to default to the center of the wall. I'm going to put my cursor where I'd like it to be, and we've already talked about having our control point for construction being the outside face of the sheathing, and that's our core boundary. So I'm going to go hover over that and then hit my tab key, and it jumps to it. It may take 1 or 2 clicks. Now I've got the length of this done, but in this command it expects that we're going to keep on adding dimensions. If you hit enter now, you'll just lose the dimensions. So you have to go somewhere where there's nothing to attach to and just click there. That will terminate the extension command, and now we've got those 2 walls connected with a dimension. I'm up to my quick toolbar here, and I'm going to click on align dimensions. Now I'm going to do the vertical dimensions. I want to start again from the outside of the sheathing, so it's trying to default to the center of the wall. I'm just going to hit tab, click on that one, and I'm going to go right down the garage. This is a vertical dimension. So the next one is again tabbing to the outside face of the sheathing on the garage, and hover over that again, tab till you get it, and then finally with the house. So now I'm going to have a locator dimension for vertical position of these horizontal walls. So if I just click on that, I've got some odd numbers in here. Again, easy to fix now. So this wall, I want it to be 2 feet from the back of the house. So I click on the wall, and now because those dimensions are associated with the model, I can just click on the dimension, type in 2, and it's 2 feet now. And likewise, the front of the house, click on the front wall. Always highlight the wall you need to move. So it's this wall that needs to move, and I want it also to be 2 feet, and you can see that matches the model pretty close. So we've got 21.6 was the width of the garage, and now that's 22 feet, so we've got a wall thickness included. 23 was the depth of the garage, and now we've got it at 24. So basically we've got a wall thickness included in there. So that's simple enough. Now that we have our walls built, shown, I want to show you how to build a stacked wall. So if you go into 3D, right now these walls, where were they assigned to? Top of main floor and unconnected at 20 feet high. So I should have changed that before, but since I didn't, I'll highlight them now, and I'm going to say I can do all of these actually, and right click, select all instances. So every wall that is the stucco wall, I want them to start at the main floor and the top constraint for now, I'm going to put top of the main wall. Top of main wall. Okay, so if we go to 3D view, everything should line up. So they're all exactly the same height. There is going to be some differences in these walls. Once we set our spot elevations, we can reassign the garage walls to be set at top of garage grade beam and top of garage wall. So that will come later on when we get into customizing our spot elevations. But for now, we've just started with this wall. Now we'll go to our main floor plan again, and we're going to swap out this generic garage wall for a stacked wall. The stacked wall we want to be made up of, for example, for this one we're going to use our standard wall that we have already built here, the stucco on wood stud wall as our garage wall, but it's going to sit on a grade beam, and we're going to assume conventional grade beam, so it's made with conventional forms. The grade beam would be 8 inches thick and 2 feet tall. Okay, it's going to sit on piles, and again we'll assign the heights of that grade beam location later on. But first we need to go into our wall list and see that we have created the 2 wall types that we want to turn into a stacked wall. If you go down here in Revit, it's got a stacked wall category, and their stacked wall is shingle over brick wood stud. So it's just a change in finish. We're going to actually have our wood stud on top of a concrete grade beam. So before we can stack any walls, we have to make sure we have both wall types available. So they have a 10-inch concrete and a 12-inch concrete. We're going to highlight the 10 and edit it to be our new 8-inch. So duplicate and get rid of the 2, and we're going to make it an 8-inch concrete foundation. And we will edit that. We have to make sure we change the construction of the model to match our title. So 8-inch cast in place concrete, that's good. So now I'm going to just say okay to that. Now when I go to my drop down, I have an 8-inch concrete foundation wall, and I have my stucco on wood stud wall. So those are the 2 wall types that I'm going to use for my staggered wall. So that's the first step. Create the wall types you need. Next, we're going to go to the stacked wall category, click on that, and we're going to edit that one. So it doesn't matter what that one is, we're going to edit it, and we'll just say duplicate. We don't want to erase it, we might use it somewhere, but we're going to duplicate this one. And this one we'll just say stucco on wood stud on 8-inch grade beam. Okay, so that's the name of our stacked wall. We'll edit that, and there's, again, there's 2 wall types in this particular stacked wall. You can have as many pieces as you want. The upper wall we want to be our wood stud, stucco on wood stud, and the lower wall we want to be our grade beam. So this is the same list as we saw over here on the wall types. So I'll just drag down and find my 8-inch concrete. Okay, now the difference is here we can control the heights of these 2 components. Since a grade beam is typically always 2 feet high, we're going to set it at that. The garage wood wall height could be anything. So it's a variable wall height, and we're going to leave that as a type. This one has a height defined to it. So if you look at the preview here, we've got our concrete grade beam that's 2 feet high, and then a variable height wood stud wall. And if you look at that now, notice that we are in the section view. In the preview, if you imagine building this wall, we would have the wood stud wall out so that the sheathing is flush with the concrete, and our stucco would stop at concrete, and then there'd be parging on top of the concrete. So I need to move this wall, the wood wall, over to be flush with the concrete, so sheathing matches concrete. To do that, there is an offset command. Now we can calculate what it is, and I'll tell you what's happened so far. They have lined up core center lines, and that's okay. We're going to leave it at that. You can change it, but if I swap in here, we could calculate what to move. If I do core exterior face, it's done automatically. Whoops, automatically for us. Core exterior face. Click. I need to get off of that so I can zoom. There. So that's the quick way to do it. And what happened was it did an offset to match our exterior face. We can do it manually too. This is obviously the way to go, but if I did it manually, it defaults at core center lines. And so this is a 6-inch wall, 5.5 plus the sheathing is 6-inch. It's between core boundaries, and this is 8, so we'd need to move this over a -1 inch. We have to put in the inch symbol. Oh, I guess it's not negative. One way is left, one way is right, and I hit enter. Now it's flush. But rather than doing that, obviously, just tell it core boundaries. Okay, so we're good with that. So now we've got we're done creating that wall. If we go under wall types, you'll see under stacked walls we have our new category. So what we'll do now is just highlight the 3 instances. I'm just holding down my control key so I can pick multiple entities, and I'm going to change that from a standard stucco wall to a stacked wall. And remove that reference. The dimension is dropped off because we changed physical wall types, so we're going to have to redimension that later. You can see how these just edited, and that simple edit line. Come in, tab to the, and click somewhere out in space. This one, I'm just going to delete it because it dropped on 2 sides. It's easier for me just to come in and tab and come down, tabbing to the exterior face of the sheathing, and place that dimension. Now let's have a look at that. So in 3D we've got a double wall type here and a single wall type. Again, we'll be able to control the actual vertical position of the garage versus the house in our spot elevations later on.